Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you all doing today? Hope you're enjoying the Databricks conference. Today, we're going to talk about democratizing data and AI with Databricks and Salesforce. So welcome to the session.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vijay Gopalakrishnan. I'm a product management director with Salesforce. I work on Data Federation, BYOM feature, and Sharda.
Hi, I'm Sharda Rao, and I'm a technical architect with Data Cloud. I'm also a data scientist, and I've been working with data and AI for almost 20 years right now. So I'm really happy to be here to present this session to you all. This is from Salesforce, forward-looking statement. Please make your purchasing decisions based on what's in the product that is GA today. There are some pilot features that we are showing, so we'll let you know what pilot features we are showing, but make your purchasing decisions based on what's GA in the product.
Okay, good to go. All right, let's get started. So let's start with talking about integrated C360 experiences, right? Customer 360 experiences. One of the big challenges that organizations face today is siloed data. Right? There's lots of data in different sources. There's ERP, IoT data in databases. They're all trapped data. Since you have this data, the data has a lot of power, but it's just that because it's siloed, you don't have the ability to bring it all together and use it to derive meaningful insights. So some of the big pain points, right, associated with islands of data, siloed data, or disparate data. You have different sources, this variety of data, handling different kinds of data is an issue. Second, with these different varieties of data comes the issue of the technical expertise required to handle them. Thirdly, it's costly and time consuming, right? It's a lot easier if I had all my data in one place, if I can use it. Now comes the challenge of bringing everything together, creating those profiles, and being able to use it. There's maintenance, and lastly, there's security and compliance, right? Data sitting all over the place is not exactly something that that would help me get a good night's sleep. Last one. Now, this is where if I had all my data connected in Salesforce, right? I mean, this is where the advantage comes in, right? I could forecast across business units and regions. I could work on customer retention. There's proactive service. As I look at all this data, I have the ability to proactively reach out to customers and offer service deals. IoT telemetrics, right? In healthcare, we've seen personalized patient engagement, the ability to gather this data, derive insights, and then reach out to customers proactively, patients proactively, right? Or personalized engagements from real-time data. As you're getting data, you have the ability to quickly reach out to your customers, help them make those decisions quickly. Great. So now Sharda will talk about how Data Cloud comes in here.
So introducing Data Cloud, Salesforce Data Cloud. Next slide, please. Sorry. So Data Cloud, what it does for you for the Salesforce experience is that it connects and unifies all your data. So your data can be in multiple sources. You can bring that data in without any complex integration projects. You can then activate your data. And by that, what you mean is that you have ML inferences, or you can have all of those data that comes in. You can provide insights in the flow of work for your Salesforce users. So Salesforce users are in the flow of work, and they want insights from all of this data, so you provide that within the Salesforce environment. So a deeper level into how Data Cloud works on this slide, here you can connect to any data, whether it's in Databricks, AWS, Snowflake, within the Salesforce ecosystem of all the multiple apps that we have within Salesforce. You can harmonize that data. So you bring that in, you prepare, transform, unify, so you have a single source of truth for your customer, and then you can activate it, meaning that you can provide ML insights within the contact page, service page, as well as the insights to act on scale, like you can create segments. So I'm assuming most of you all here have some experience with Salesforce, or you want to bring in the data that you have in these different disparate systems into Salesforce. So this is how you can provide. Data Cloud allows you to do that without any complex integration projects, with pretty much low code, no code. Next slide, please. And then we have been expanding our partnership with Salesforce and Data Cloud. And Vijay?
Thank you, Sharda. So we've been having great partnership here with Salesforce and Databricks, where we're empowering customers to make more insightful decisions. Right? Some of the features that we've been working, and I'll talk about these in detail in a bit, are zero-copy integration with Data Cloud, where now you can leverage any data that you have in Databricks within Data Cloud without having to copy it. And similarly, you can also, it's bidirectional, so you can use data that's available in Data Cloud and use it in Databricks without making a copy of it. We also have the ability to bring your own data model. You can use your ML models. You can use it within Data Cloud. Next slide. Great, so let's start with the zero copy feature that we spoke about. With zero copy now, you can easily unlock your trapped data, right? So you have your data in Databricks. Earlier, you would have had an ETL pipeline. You would have copied that data into Data Cloud and used it. With zero copy, you can use your data that's available in Databricks without having to copy it. Anytime you want to use that data, for example, if I were to run a segmentation in Data Cloud, and I said I want to look at all the customers in North America who bought jackets over the last 60 days. Earlier, this data would have resided within Data Cloud. You used it. Now this query directly goes down to Databricks, retrieves the pertinent data, and brings it back. Right? You can enrich your CRM data with contextual and relevant data. You have features like related list, copy field enrichments, where you can use these features to essentially update your CRM data. And lastly, you can also share this data, the unified customer profiles that you would create based on the data that's coming in from Data Cloud. You can share it with Data Lake, Databricks Lakehouse. With regards to the features, for the feature where you can bring data from Databricks into Data Cloud, we are right around the corner of GAing it. On June 19th, this feature goes GA. And for the feature where you can use the data in Data Cloud in Databricks, that's in preview right now. So it's in pilot preview as we speak. Sure, the next one I'll talk.
So we also have the ability to bring your own models that you have built out in Data Cloud into Salesforce. And what's the power of doing that? It's that your models are there, housed in Databricks, all within the governance framework. You have the endpoint, and now with Model Builder, we can bring in those models right into Salesforce Data Cloud. You're not bringing the model per se, but you're just bringing the inferences back. So if I have a customer, I want to have an attrition model that's in Databricks, I'm just bringing in the attrition score. Now that I have the attrition score within Data Cloud, I can act on it. I can create a segment so that you can proactively retain your customers at scale. Or you can surface the attrition score within the contact record page in Salesforce. Now your customer service agent has that ML insights in their flow of work. And we have the PM for Databricks right here. For Databricks, bring your own model right here with us too. So this is a feature we released a couple of months ago. And with that, next slide. Yes. In today's demo, I'm going to show you a real life working demo that we put together to show all the features of our Databricks partnership with Salesforce. So here we have a connected experience. You can connect data that resides in Databricks, bring it in, and along with your Salesforce data, you create that unified data. Once you have unified data, you have created those unified profiles of your individual. Then you bring in the AI inferences. In this case, I'm bringing in a product recommendation system. So I recommend for each customer, we know what's the product that they potentially going to buy. Once I have that information, I can create segments at scale, or within the contact record page, or using flows, I now have that personalized recommendation surfaced. And finally, you have all of that data, you combine it, and you also see what the customer is actually purchasing. You're predicting that a customer is going to purchase, let's say, a backpack, but they actually bought something else. So you have that data in Data Cloud because it's connected to all the data and all the apps within Salesforce. Now you want to send it back to Databricks so that you can retrain your model and set up the whole training, retaining, and model monitoring process. For that, we'll use data share. So I'll show that to you in the demo. For data share, it's in pilot, and within Databricks, it's in pilot, so it's going to come soon. The BYOL, which is a lake, that's going to be GA in 2 weeks. bring your own model or AI inferences is already GA. So you'll see all these 3 features in the demo I'm just going to show you.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk quickly about the architecture of zero copy. We'll also, right after this, we'll also talk about the architecture of BYOM. But with zero copy, as I said, the fundamental is you're not copying the data from Databricks into Data Cloud, but rather retrieving it as needed. So if you look at this architecture here, you have JDBC drivers that which you use. Anytime you leverage service within Data Cloud, let's say segmentation or calculated insights, what would happen is you would trigger a query in the backend. Now, if you've ingested the data, this query hits the native tables. In this case, the query goes down to the customer's compute. The difference being, we only store the metadata of what's in the source, not the data. The data does not persist within Data Cloud, only the metadata. So anytime we create what's called an external data lake object. With an external data lake object, all you're doing is creating an empty table that has the metadata. So every time you're retrieving data, that would be the conduit that you would use to bring the data in. Similarly, for data sharing, the data is stored natively in Data Cloud. Anytime somebody in Databricks wants to use it, there's a query that comes in using a JDBC driver, and the data is retrieved in Data Cloud. You want to talk about BYOM?
Similar concept for bring your own model right here. So you have the model serving endpoint, and you have the data in Data Cloud, or you could have it in Databricks too. So you're bringing it in using zero copy. You're bringing only the metadata in. And then you set it up in Einstein 1 Studio. And once you set it up, all it's doing is it's sending a query with the predictors into Data Cloud serving endpoint and bringing the predictions back. So what you'll see within Data Cloud is just the predictions, which you can then use for personalization. And with that, I know everyone's waiting to see a real life working demo, so I'm going to show you the demo. So if all of you, this is a familiar UI for Data Cloud. For those of you who have been working with Salesforce, this is a very, very similar UI. So you can see that that's Data Cloud. You have data streams, which is your data coming in, data lake objects, a virtual layer where data that's processed stays in the staging area. Then you have the data model object, which is processed data, which is your gold data tables in Databricks terms. So that's data model object. And that's what's used for unification. So once you map all of the data streams and data lake objects into data model objects, then you can unify your data. So you have a single view of your customer or your individual or your account. So once you have all that set up, then you can create calculated insights, segments, and so on. So that's what Data Cloud provides. And it has seamless integration with core Salesforce. So you can have data coming in from external sources surfaced as related lists within the core Salesforce platform. So Data Cloud is really powerful. We need a whole new session for Data Cloud, but today I'm just going to focus more on the Databricks integrations. So the first thing here is I need to set up a data stream. So anything to do with analytics, AI, you need data. So within Data Cloud, it's really, really easy to set up a connection. So here for that, I need to just go to Data Cloud Setup. And once I'm in Data Cloud Setup, I can go to Connectors. And I can create a new connection. We have multiple pre-built connections. You can bring in data from anywhere. And if it's on-prem, you could use MuleSoft. You can bring in all kinds of data that you want, structured, unstructured, into Data Cloud. In today's demo, we'll focus more on the Databricks integrations. So here, I'm bringing Databricks data in. So setting up the connection is really, really easy. So it's just UI-based in true Salesforce spirit and fashion. Just set up your endpoints, user ID, password if you need, or authentication keys, and then you set up your connection. Once the data is connected, now you want to bring the data in. So if I go back to data streams here and I say new, here the connection that I set up is showing up here. So any connection that I've set up shows up here. And now you can just select the data you want to bring, in this case, Databricks. And then here I choose this one. I can say which this is for catalog, so from what data that I want to bring from that catalog. Next. And then you'll see that you can see all the fields and metadata and select it. So this is how you can set up your data streams which reside in Databricks. You can bring that into Data Cloud this way. And once the data is in Data Cloud, you now can transform this data. And by transform, what I mean is that you want to map it to a data model object. You can also bring in Salesforce data. So in this demo that I'm using, I have some predictors that I have, marketing predictors, which are in Databricks. I have some demographic information about the contact in the contact DMO or contact object within Salesforce. So I'm bringing both of those fields in. And then now, all I have to do is start mapping these. This is your gold tables that we have here. So I'm mapping your contacts to these gold tables. I'm also going to map the Databricks data that I brought in into, see this, marketing predictors external. This is the Databricks data that I brought in. I brought it in here. And now, if I want to view the schema, you see here that all of this data is mapped to the individual in this case because it's a B2C use case. So I have the data coming in here as well as the marketing predictors external, which is a Databricks data set, is also being mapped in, and it has a many-to-one relationship to the individual. So now I've set up all my scoring information within Data Cloud. And prior to doing this, I already have a model that I created. I had training data set, I trained my model to then predict, to create a predictive model that can predict the product that a customer is going to buy. The predictors were the demographic information about whether a customer was a club member, their geographic location. So I used all of these predictors along with some marketing predictors. So once I built that model, I had the serving endpoint created right here. So I have the URL of the serving endpoint, and the model is now created and served up in Databricks. Now I want to set this model up in Data Cloud. So I'm back here where I'm in Data Cloud now. Now that I have my scoring set up, I have mapped it to the gold tables, I have it all ready, but I don't have my ML inference because my ML inference is in Databricks. I want to bring that in so that I can act on it. So within Data Cloud, I can actually go in and connect to a Databricks model. And for that, it's really easy. Again, everything in Salesforce is UI-based and easy to enter. So here you can choose the type of model that you're connecting to. So just a Databricks URL that I just showed you, the endpoint URL and the API key. And you set up that, you set up how the format's going to go in, what format the data is going to come back in. And you need to set up the schema. By schema, what it means is that these are the predictors that the Databricks model will use to predict what product the customer is going to buy. So as you can see here, it's pages visited, engagement score, clicks, and so on. All of these predictors, you just set up the schema. That's what's right here. And then you can finally save this model. Once that's done, you just have to create a prediction job. So here is a prediction job that I created. And this is where you will start mapping your information. And what's really cool about mapping information is what you see right here. So I have these predictors, pages visited, engagement score, and clicks. These predictors do not persist anywhere in Salesforce. They persist in Databricks. So I brought it in as a bring your own lake. I got the metadata in. What you're seeing here is I'm able to map it to that data that's coming in. It's all metadata that is physically not stored within Salesforce. So now that I'm mapping it, I'm mapping my data, those 3 predictors coming in from Databricks. The rest of the data which you see mapped to individual are all data that's persisting in Salesforce Data Cloud. So here's where you're bringing in data which is in Salesforce, in Databricks, you're bringing it virtually, but now you can get your predicted product right from this schema. So this is really, really powerful. This is the value of BYOM, which is bring your own model, as well as bring your own lake, where now you're seamlessly integrating predictors from Databricks, from Salesforce, or anywhere else that you have your predictors into this schema to get the predictions back. And once you get, then you can, and also we have two ways of syncing this data. Batch, which runs on a schedule. Streaming is when things automatically, as predictors change, you can send inferences and get data back. So if I selected streaming here, I can actually choose which field I want, where something changes that you want to get a prediction back. So for example, if tenure changes, only then I want a prediction to come back. You can control that with streaming. Okay? So this is how you set up your predictions. And once you set up your predictions, you then have, let me just go very quickly to one area here. We saw this graph before, but once you have this prediction, you can see that this prediction right here is actually now connected to the individual. So these inferences that came from Databricks, which I'm highlighting there, is right now in Data Cloud. Now you can use this for your activation. So the first type of activation you could do is segments. And we have a nice UI to create segments. Here, if I want to create a segment of all my customers who are interested in this product, they are located in the US, and their address or state, in this case, I just said contains AIDS. So I can just change and I can drag and drop. So if you see here, I have all my related attributes. I also have this predicted interest right here. So it's a drag and drop interface. I can just draw a drag, drop, and have and or conditions. So you can create segments right here without writing a single line of SQL code. And once you create your segments, again, it's a touchless process. As data changes, segments get created, and then you have automated the process of creating segments and reaching out to your customers and providing personalized content versus just telling them buy this product. Now you know customer A is interested in buying, or the model says that they might buy this particular product. Now you're going to send them targeted, personalized information to them instead of sending them just, non-personalized information. So that's segments. For those of you familiar with Salesforce, flows is such a powerful component of Salesforce. With no code, you can automate processes within Salesforce. You can now query data from flows directly from Data Cloud. You can even bring in predictions. So if you see here, I have a so I'm going to embed this flow in a contact record page. So I have the ID. So once I have the ID, I can actually get the details about the contact. So I'm storing that, all of those predictors, the predictors that are stored in Salesforce, I have access to here. And then what I can also do is real time, from the flow, I can query Data Cloud objects. And that, again, is really, really powerful because this marketing predictors is a BYOL 0 copy right there. But now I can query that and bring in those predictions or predictors right here. I can bring in those predictors which I need to use to score that particular contact. So I can do that with flows. And then I'm now getting that particular ML inference, the model. I have all of those predictors mapped up. So even those pages visited and so on are all mapped here. And I can get that predicted product in a variable. Now that I have this, I can use the recommendations engine to get all my recommendations, filter out the recommendation that I need for this particular customer. If this particular customer is interested in shoes, then I get the shoes recommendation. And now if I'm in the contact record page, you see that that particular recommendation is being surfaced. This is so powerful. Without writing a single line of code within Salesforce, I was able to do this. So your data science teams have built a model. It's in Databricks. Some of the data is already in Databricks. Some of the data is in Salesforce. But using this integration with Salesforce and Databricks, I provide that seamless experience for your end user to consume that insight. How come no one's saying wow? Because this is not easy to do without this technology. And then finally, there was one more element of the integration that I want to talk about. This is the data share. So you have the data in Data Cloud, but you want to share it with Databricks 0 copy. And this is a pilot feature on the Databricks side. It's going to come, I think, in January, but don't hold me to it. But this is the feature that you have, its pilot mode. You can actually seamlessly share Data Cloud, gold and silver tables within Databricks. So that's what you're seeing here. And you can see sample data, you can see the overview, the schema, the metadata, all within the familiar Databricks UI. And if you see in this notebook that I've built out, I can actually query this. This is a table that is zero copy from Data Cloud into Databricks. I can query this into a Pandas data frame, and I can join this with a data that I already have in Databricks into a Pandas data frame, and then I can, or Spark data frame, and then I can do my rating, monitoring, model monitoring, retraining. Everything can be done from this now. So there are 3 integration points that we have. Bring your own lake, bring your own model, where in both these cases, the data stays in Databricks. We are just bringing the endpoints or the metadata. But with this one, we are, again, data is in Data Cloud, but Databricks has access to it. Now you can access it for especially model monitoring, performance monitoring, when to retrain your model, using all those nice features that Databricks has. You have the ability to do that. So 3 points of integration. This feature is in pilot, just so you know. Next, I have access to all of the Salesforce objects. Yes, we don't need S3. So, and even custom fields, anything, you can bring it here. Bring your own model. There's a blog that we've written out where in partnership with Databricks. So the demo that you saw, where all the predictors, that's in your bring your own model blog. We have a booth in the expo session, booth number 35. So please visit and you can ask more questions and ask your account team to look at zero copy and Salesforce and Databricks.
Perfect.